Yo, what's good, everybody? Brent here. It's Tuesday, December 9th. Hope everybody's having an amazing day. I am filming this outside. Somebody's doing some work on my bathroom right now. So if you hear some air, maybe some fucking random, I don't know, people walking by or something, that's it. But I hope everybody is having an amazing Tuesday. Like I said, been a pretty quiet week so far, pretty quiet last few weeks. Usually I do the streaming Tuesdays and Fridays. Wasn't able to stream on Friday. Had something going on, but I am going to go back to the 11:30 schedule Tuesdays and Fridays, especially as the market heats up. So if you're a regular, you've been on here a bunch. I will be doing Tuesdays and Fridays every time. Again, not much that's been going on the last few weeks, but the kind of consolidation and choppiness, as I've said many times before, is a blessing, because if we look back at past Bitcoin charts, and again, I implore everybody to look at charts in the past. I don't know why this is lagging so hard, but look at charts in the past, and because most people just don't, they only look at the most recent price action. And while history doesn't repeat perfectly, it definitely leaves clues, the charts, as far as consolidations, impulses, different behavior definitely repeats. And that's the type of stuff that I like to look at and talk about in these streams here. So if you zoom out here, every one of these corrections on Bitcoin, this one in April after the tariff war, the one in 2024, the one in 2023, all of them ended with a period of consolidation, choppiness, where Bitcoin held a low and a high for 2 to 8 weeks. Every single one of these times everybody's been around remembers how boring it gets, how nothing is going on during these periods. And, that's what we're seeing now. So, again, while it's been boring as fuck the last few weeks, this is actually what we want to be seeing if we are going to be forming a bottom here. We're going to talk about all the scenarios, whether Bitcoin's bottomed here, what we should expect from now, whether we're in a bear market. A lot of people the last few weeks have still been speaking in absolutes as if we're still in a bear market. While it's possible that we do head back down one more time, I do think there's a good case because of everything else going on right now with the fundamentals, institutions, regulatory stuff, how risk assets, equities are really strong. I think there's a good case to be made that Bitcoin pushes to all-time highs from here. But we'll go over all the different invalidations, chart-wise, everything else. But before we get to that, first of all, if you guys could please like, comment, uh, retweet, share, all that good stuff. Always appreciate it. Obviously, shoot me a follow. And let me know in the chat. First of all, if this is your first time in the stream, love you guys. I love you guys for being here. Appreciate that. And then two, where you're tuning in from in the country. I always like to see where everybody's from. So I'm gonna check the chat really quick before we get started. 11. By the way, yeah, today we're gonna talk, like I said, about Bitcoin. We're gonna talk about FOMC coming up and the possibilities for that, and really how news events, how I handle news events, and how I trade or don't really trade them. Um, you know, and then we're gonna talk about how I think crypto is in really the like its post .com bubble moment, where it's not a perfect analogy or a perfect comparison, but after the .com bubble crashed in 2000, I know a lot of a lot of you guys fuckers probably weren't even born then. Uh, 2000, 1998 to 2000, internet stocks went absolutely crazy. It was kind of how meme coins and crypto have been in their bull markets, where everything goes crazy, goes to crazy valuations. Everybody's trading internet stocks. Then all of a sudden, we got a big bubble pop because valuations and prices got way too ahead of the actual adoption of the technology. And then obviously what happened is about in 2004, Amazon, Google, most stuff died, but Amazon, Google, Nvidia, all of them came out of the ashes to become the biggest companies in the world. I think crypto's having that moment right now where, Bitcoin's up this year, obviously, like has been in a bull market the last few years, but a lot of altcoins have been down for 2 or 3, 4 years. And I think, obviously the valuations, the prices got way too far ahead of the actual technology. And I think what's going to happen now, we're seeing, regulatory stuff starting to allow crypto to build the Clarity Act, for builders to build in crypto with the Clarity Act. We're getting, institutional adoption. Vanguard just allowed people to have Bitcoin ETF, trade Bitcoin and ETF all these institutional stuff going on. I think where crypto is in that post.com bubble moment where the gap between the fundamentals being really good and the prices being down, I think are going to close. And we're really going to see a true adoption cycle over the next few years. So, yeah, I think right now, crypto, not everything's going to head back up. But I think right now, I put out a tweet the other day too. I think the two biggest, things that are going to do the best are, again, movement coins, um, the few revenue producing protocols, um, like Aster, Hyperliquid, Uniswap, Pump Fund, and then probably a lot of like older, DeFi alts, if I had to guess, stuff that a lot of these TradFi people will be trading. So we'll go over a lot of that too. Yeah, I know. But let's go ahead and look at the chat really quick before I finish. What's up, Space Faceless 11? How you guys doing? Sure Bobo, Mike. Nice to see you, brother. Always great to see you. You're having an amazing Tuesday, says Whale. Nice to hear that, brother. MKT, what's good, brother? Yeah, everybody check out MKT. Post he put out today. Shout out to him for shouting me out in this, but this guy's an underrated account. Definitely posts a lot of cool stuff, recommendations, a lot of good chart stuff as well. Oh, and then I forgot as well is we are going to talk about some good setups that I've been looking at in the post 5 million market cap range, which is usually what I don't really do too much in, especially during these times. But I think right now, because of MKT, Kick, especially, a few others that have really brought some really good setups to my attention that I normally wouldn't be trading. We'll talk about that today. For the first time in a while, I think there's a lot of these coins that are smaller in the 1 to 5 million market cap range that are actually setting up to have more sustainable runs. And I think that's actually pointing to the trenches maybe starting to get a little bit more healthier. But we'll go over all that. 808, nice seeing the flogs. We're going to talk about the flogs as well. Flogs had a free mint for people who bought those blind boxes. And then, they went up to about 0.23. And then I think now after reveal, they're, quote unquote, suffering, what a lot of these NFT projects is this post reveal, especially in these conditions. We're seeing them, I think, fall to 0.09 now. So we'll talk about the NFTs and stuff as well. Not much going on in there, but X Turbo, what's good? 808, what's good? ATK. But like I said, if you guys could like, comment, share, retweet, always appreciated. Symbiose, hey Brand, do you think we'll see at some point in 2026 a bear market? Yeah, I'm gonna get right into that in Bitcoin right now. We're gonna go over where I think we're at right now, whether Bitcoin, in the short term, whether I think it's bottomed out. Then we're gonna go over to the higher time frames and the mid time frames and go over some invalidations on what could potentially cause a quote unquote bear market. And again, guys, a bear market, all that would mean is you hear bear market, you think some long winter that's going to last 2 or 3 years. That's just never how it's been for Bitcoin. Even if Bitcoin were right here, like it was in November 2021, where it came back up one more time and then rolled over one more time, like even if Bitcoin were to get one more low, we're talking a matter of 6 to 9 months we'd be waiting, right? It's not like a fucking 2 or 3 5 year long winter where you just need to, pack it up and come back in a few years. It's just worst case scenario is we come up here, and which we're going to go over that setup here in a second, roll over one more time. And really all that would mean is even if we got the worst bear market ever in terms of time, just be waiting here another 6 to 9 months. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's obvious crypto is, like I said, it's in its post.com bubble moment where it's really going to see true adoption over the next few years. Really, who gives a fuck if we're here, we go up in 6 weeks or 6 months? I personally am going to be here either way. But we'll go over some setups to on both sides of that right now after I look at the last few comments. Sky Crypto King, nice to see you. What's good? Vote for Pudgy. How you doing, brother? But yeah, Bitcoin, let's go over it. So let's go to the higher time frames first. As I have been pointing out fucking a lot recently, is every one of these big corrections of the last few years is ended in one thing. And it's not just Bitcoin. We see these across all different asset classes. Bottoms and tops, I would say 9 out of 10 times are formed with some type of period of weeks, sometimes months of consolidation. It'll be holding a low, in this case to the downside, or a high if it's a bearish top, right? We saw 3 weeks or 4 weeks of this in April. We saw 8 weeks of this in 2024 in that correction. And so far, Bitcoin has been consolidating here for, I think it's about 16, 17 days. Okay. So pretty much tracking kind of right on point to that 3 to 8 week consolidation that we normally get to end these consolidations or to end these corrections. Okay. Now, what I've been saying now to really confirm that the correction is over is usually every time has been when Bitcoin has 2 daily candle closes back above its consolidation high. The consolidation high here was at 88K. Once Bitcoin closed above there with 2 daily candle closes, which is right here, it always goes to all-time highs from there. Okay. Or at least climbs higher from there. So really the final confirmation for me, what I've been doing, guys, is DCAing heavy as if this is the bottom. I did place a long position yesterday. Started building a long position yesterday as we kind of approach this 85K low. I'm holding that strong with the possibility and understanding that just like we saw here in March, we could come back down and sweep this low one more time if Bitcoin doesn't, clear this 93K low or high. So pretty much what I'm looking for is today and tomorrow's daily candle close to close back above this 93K high. And if we do that, again, history shows us that we're just going to probably very likely fly from there. Worst case scenario is, again, Bitcoin does something like this where it comes back up and retests that consolidation high, but then comes back down, sweeps that low one more time, takes out the people that are long, takes out stops below that low, and then sends. I'm fully prepared for that scenario. But again, if you're not trading leverage, if you're not longing or shorting, which most of us, like, it's just not necessary, it doesn't matter, right? I think this consolidation very likely points to the bottom being in or very close with one more sweep either way. So it's kind of what I'm looking at. I think this is very, very likely, again, because of this 3 weeks of consolidation. Very likely the bottom is in. Again, we could see that sweep, one more hit to that 82K low, maybe even a sweep in it, and it destroys that low, takes out some liquidation, does a liquidation cascade and quickly rebounds. But yeah, I think bottom is very likely in, guys. I think it's just a matter of time. Again, first confirmation is a close buck, 2 daily candle closes above 93K. And if we go to the daily, time frame, right? We look the biggest we're so back besides a close above the consolidation high, which it actually coincided with both of these indicators, or both of these confirmations actually lined up the last time Bitcoin is coming out of its correction, where it closed above the consolidation high and traded back above the 200 red moving average. Both of those are strong confirmations. Really, the final confirmation that we've gotten on every one of these Bitcoin corrections to where Bitcoin went back to all-time highs every time it did this is when it traded back above the 200 red moving average. Okay. And as you can see, what makes this correction different and why a lot of TA guys, I think, are kind of really sketched out, or not sketched out, but they're more cautious that this may be a start of a longer bear market, is that, as you can see here on 200 or Bitcoin, usually when it's in its correction, it'll barely dip below that 200 moving average. It'll consolidate and then trade back above. But as you can see here this time, Bitcoin went way below that 200 moving average, to where to get back above that 200 moving average, Bitcoin's going to have to go up about 10 or 15, 13%, which is definitely possible. I think the fundamentals, regulation, all that different stuff is going to make it very possible, but it's going to have to make a bigger move than normal in order for us to do that. So really, if you're like a person who likes to wait for confirmations, you like to look at these things, I think the last thing we really want to see to be like, okay, everything checks out chart wise. And again, charts are just one part of the piece of the puzzle. That final kind of confirmation would be as if Bitcoin were to skyrocket here or after one more dip and close back above this 200 moving average. Okay. Again, it's not some magic fucking line that like dictates the market. It's history has shown us that once price trades back above that and shows momentum back above the 200 moving average every single time since 2022, once that's happened, Bitcoin's gone all-time highs. So it has a very high probability and a very high whatever, because again, it tracks momentum. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Again, guys, 2 daily candle closes today and tomorrow's daily candle close above the 200, or I'm sorry, above 93K, this consolidation high. And I will add to my long position. But other than that, I think the bottom's in. I think everybody got shaken out. I think just like we see at all these other corrections, but in even more extreme, like even the most bullish of bullish people, kind of just threw in the towel. And I think sentiment, price, you know, adoption, or like the actual technology, institutional stuff are all pointing to, I think, in uh, end of the year and 2026, a big rally. And again, we got to hope that this big rally takes us back to all time highs. I think has a really good chance. Because again, of all the stuff other than the prices. I think we have FOMC coming up, which we'll talk about here in a second. First of all, let me know, guys, in the chat, what your thoughts are. Do you ascribe to this belief, that this is probably the bottom, or do you think we're going to roll over into a bigger bear market? And then two, what do you think is going to happen to FOMC? I want to talk about that too right now. Brand, look into grass. I'll look into grass too. And again, guys, if you're just hopping on right now, we're talking about Bitcoin. We're going to go into FOMC. We're going to go into meme coins. We're going to go into some lower cap setups, some higher cap setups, a lot of other good stuff. So if you're just hopping in, make sure to like, comment, retweet, share. Doing these streams every Tuesdays and Fridays for now, and probably going to add some more as the market goes up. So appreciate you guys for being here. Hayes, what's good, brother? Get your aura up. I'll look at aura in a second. Brand dropping that knowledge. Appreciate you for being here, Manny. Aloya, I assume, I have no idea what fucking language this is, but I assume that means you shared the screen, shared the stream. So thank you, Martin. Wosen, that is all. Good stream, bro. High nice stream. Good stuff. 60. Okay, OX Turbo. And again, if you guys make sure to leave your comments, questions, chart requests, all that different stuff. I'm going to be looking at the chat. If you guys are new here, I love to make these streams interactive as fucking possible, especially in here. Like make the chat a huge part of the stream while it's still a, smaller group of people. But, what? Yeah. Good morning, everyone. What's up, Juicy? Yes, Spaced. I will be looking at the white whale right now in a second here. But just to conclude on Bitcoin, guys, I think this is looking really good. Again, consolidation. I implore every single one of you, if you want to separate yourself from the average trader who literally, this is the average trader. I'm going to go to the 1 minute. I don't even have the 1 minute up. But this is the average trader, guys. They're fucking zoomed into here. Like, this is all they care about. This is their frame of reference on the chart, right? It's like, oh, this is bullish. Must be bullish because it's gone up in the last 3 hours. This is what the kind of trader you want to be. You want to be looking at I'm not saying don't look at the lower time frames, but for God's sakes, zoom out and look at the higher time frames. I know it might not be as exciting or like fucking induce dopamine like the 1 minute chart, but I'm telling you, the biggest clues are left on the higher time frames. That's where a lot of the noise is set aside. Like, it just drives me crazy whenever I see somebody like in Telegram, like they go FC Bitcoin 1 minute. And I'm just like, brother, what is a fucking 1 minute chart going to tell you? Especially on theirs that you can't zoom out on. But yeah, zoom out on the higher time frames. If we look at the higher time frames, consolidation, what do we look at? Like, you could ask a fucking second grader to look at this and ask them what happened at the end of every one of these corrections. Sideways chop, consolidation. Like, you can go back to every like right here, consolidation. Every correction ends usually in some type of consolidation. So what do we see here? 2 to 3 weeks of consolidation. Does that mean for sure that the bottom's in? No, of course Bitcoin could do some fuckery like this and, do what it did right here, right? Where it consolidated and then dropped more. But as you can see here, this consolidation here was like 8 or 9 days and then broke lower. 2 or 3 week consolidation. You go and show me any other time on this chart here where we've consolidated for 2 or 3 weeks that we haven't had it higher. It's pretty uncanny. So again, I think we just need to, only thing that you can really fuck yourself up here, I think, is if you're trying to long like with crazy 20x leverage, thinking this is for sure the bottom. I would caution you. Definitely could come back down one more time, but I think the writing's on the wall, guys. I think this is very likely the bottom. What I'm doing again is I'm already long ETH and SOL right now. If we were to come down one more time, I would increase my long positions. But really, I've been DCing heavy into L1s. Revenue producing protocols like Hype, Aster, Pump, some Uniswap, and then movement coins, movement memes. I don't really call them movement memes anymore. Movement coins, SPX Giga, ticker Bitcoin, USDUC, Troll. There's some other good ones, but I think those are going to be, really run the hardest and probably be sustainable. I kind of fade that meme coins are over. I think meme coins are really haven't seen anywhere near their peak relevancy in the mainstream yet. So yeah, to kind of close off what we're talking about Bitcoin, guys, here, 2 possibilities. If we were to sweep that low one more time or make another hit to that low, I would be adding to my long positions because, again, very high probability this is the bottom and we do move higher. I think in the next few weeks, very likely Bitcoin will move into the 100K plus territory. But again, we got to see how strong the move is. If Bitcoin literally just does some shit like this and goes from 86K to 93K in one daily candle, that's what we want to be seeing. You want to see a very strong move that quickly closes back above that red moving average. So yeah, ETH, same thing, guys. It's going to be the exact same thing. ETH is a little bit more strong right now. I think what this tells us is that ETH is very likely, again, what I've been saying for weeks here, is very likely going to outperform everything to the upside as far as L1s. I think ETH Bitcoin is going to go absolutely fucking crazy as well. And then one more chart on here too is DXY. I don't know if you guys remembered, we've been talking about this in the stream for a while, that I believe that this move up on DXY, which is the dollar, is very likely forming a local top that will take the dollar back sub 100. We're already sub 100 right now, but sub 95 and a new low on the higher time frames. Why this is significant, guys, is that every time that the dollar has moved down, the last time that the dollar has really moved down impulsively was what? The top or the bottom of the COVID crash, right before everything just went absolutely fucking crazy, right? What do we see here during the COVID, mania? Is that the DXY came down 14 points before bottoming out and going higher. So I believe DXY is very likely going to make a major move down here on the higher time frames. And if you look at every time DXY has made a move down on the higher time frames, it's always come with Bitcoin, ETH, SOL, stock market, everything going up in inverse. So this isn't perfect, but this is, again, just another sign pointing or supporting the point of a bull market happening in 2026. So DXY, ETH, Bitcoin, the last one I'll look at here, kind of all supporting the same thesis. That one, the top is very likely not in long term. And then 2, if we look at ETH, Bitcoin, put out this setup a few days ago. Let's look at here. The fuck is it? Right here. ETH Bitcoin ratio is telling us that everything we need to know about this next bounce. Tight corrective coil up, 22 days of consolidation sitting right on top of the 200 moving average. And this was about 2 weeks ago at 3.3. And as we've seen here, it is already moving out of this corrective channel. I think the fact that we haven't even gone up yet and this is happening, I think ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin to the upside here and very likely make its way back to that high that we saw in September of 2022. I still think because of all this stuff that's going to be put on chain, the entire financial system, Wall Street, collectibles, who God knows what else, I think ETH in the long term, we're talking 5 to 10 years, 3 to 10 years, is going very likely outpaces and flips Bitcoin in market cap. But that is for another day. One more S&P 500. S&P 500, guys, is already back at all-time highs, essentially. And, of course, it could come down too, but, again, just another sign pointing to outside of crypto to push crypto up next year, I think. So, Pengu. I have been buying a lot of Pengu as well. It's right up there with the movement memes or movement coins. It's kind of a brand coin, but Rect and Pengu have been heavy, been DCing those heavy as well. Again, what do we see here for Pengu other than all the other good stuff going on in the fundamentals? Has been consolidating for 2 or 3 weeks. So this is also an inverse head and shoulders for those of you guys who are paying attention. Shoulder, head again. What this is it's forming a shoulder, comes back down, forms a low, comes up, doesn't let these people that sold this low out down here out, and then forms a third shoulder and goes up. Again, this is oftentimes what we see these bottoms manifest in, either a double bottom, a higher low, or a inverse head and shoulders like this. So yeah, I think Pengu, if the market goes up, Bitcoin goes up, I think Pengu is going to absolutely fucking destroy. Thoughts on Nothing? I'll look at Nothing here in a second too. So I got to look at Nothing. I got to look at Aura and a few others that you guys have looked at. But appreciate everybody for being here. I know it's a really slow time, but I think, guys, that you'll see a lot of people say this, but every fucking breakthrough and every big play and every great period where I kind of like did really well has come on the other side of me persisting through a slow time or a bad time or something. Like you simply like you don't find success in crypto by just like giving up when shit's slow, right? And I'm not saying you should be obsessing over charts all day. Definitely don't do that. But just stick around, right? Take an hour, 2 hours a day to read tweets from people you find smart or learning or watching videos, whatever. Just stick around. Are we going to 100K? I think so. I think we're going to 100K in the next couple weeks, I would say. But again, timing is, as far as time, is impossible. What's up? Just hopping on. How's Bitcoin looking like? Thinking we're going all time high in the next few months. Yes, I think I would say right now I'm on about 75-80% chance that we go straight to all time highs, and 20%, maybe 25-20% chance that Bitcoin. So I'll just lay out the two scenarios really quickly, right? I think what's likely to happen here is sorry guys, someone's right here. What's likely to happen here is, again, Bitcoin is gonna head higher, right? Now we got to see kind of last confirmation is see how Bitcoin performs at this 200 moving average. Because if you zoom out, you see Bitcoin every time it's come out of these corrections, the final kind of confirmation to where every time that Bitcoin's done this, it's gone straight to all-time highs, is when it trades back above this 200 moving average. And if you guys are watching here and you want to learn how to set up this 200 moving average yourself, you can go to indicators. You type in moving average. Go to simple moving average, and that'll allow you to edit whatever to whatever number. And this is the 200 moving average. I make it red. Obviously, you can make it whatever the fuck color you want. But yeah, I think Bitcoin moves up, and then if it's able to close above or trade above the 200 moving average, just like I did right here, just like I got a quote tweet too, just like we did right here. Every single time, guys, like this doesn't fail. Like every time, and again, it takes time and patience to wait for it to happen. But every time Bitcoin has crossed below the 200 moving average with this quote unquote death cross and then recrossed to the upside, 3 out of 3 times since 2022, this has happened during a correction. Bitcoin's gone to all time highs from there. So really, that's kind of the final kind of really strong confirmation. But for me, everything else, the charts are just one piece of information, guys. Everything else, the fundamentals, which really consist of the regulatory stuff going on, consist of institutional adoption, obviously with Vanguard and all this other stuff. I actually also pulled up here talking to Grok. Asking Grok to kind of compare, because I'm talking about this post.com internet bubble moment for crypto. Just kind of talking, asking Grok to kind of compare, crypto to where it was now in this moment to where the .com bubble after where internet was after the dot-com bubble crash, and it's pretty interesting. Um, it talked about how in global users for the internet in 2003, kind of when during this time I'm talking about, was 700 to 1 billion. And then crypto kind of right below that at 560 to 860 million users. Crypto and the internet was really dominated by US and Europe, but crypto seems to really be dominated by the Asia and Pacific. India being the number one, Vietnam and Nigeria number two. But yeah, it's back then, it was really driven. What really drove it to adoption was cheap bandwidth. Pretty much the bandwidth and the cost to use the internet dropped by 90%. This time it's saying stable coins, remittances, mobile wallets hit 982 million installs. All these things are yet to happen, right? We're just on the precipice where I think, we saw BlackRock. I'll try to find it. BlackRock actually talked about how they think that around the world, everybody's going to have one digital wallet where they can hold their stocks, their crypto, their stable coins, and use them across the world into these different websites and everything. And that's really the vision that Gary Vaynerchuk pointed out, I think 3 or 4 years ago, that essentially the public wallet is going to be the next social media, where instead of people necessarily looking at your LinkedIn and your Instagram, they may look at your public wallet because that's going to tell them a lot more about you and your habits and what you're buying and what you're collecting than the pictures that you're putting on social media. Right? I know that sounds fucking crazy to us because we're living in this world every day that we always use these wallets and that, everybody's going to use them, but they're not going to know it as just a crypto wallet. It's going to be a digital wallet where they hold their digital stuff, right? If we're moving towards VR and AR, of course you're going to need a digital stuff to keep your digital stuff, right? So I think it's super interesting. It does seem like in a lot of these things, it's talking about how crypto is actually outpacing the internet in a lot of ways as far as adoption. Um, and I don't know. I think the internet's obviously huge. AI is even bigger. But I was watching this other thing today too, that crypto and AI pretty much are like a match made in heaven. These AI are going to need a way to transact transparently, all this different stuff, and crypto's that way. Like it just goes hand in hand with AI. So yeah, it's interesting to track this thing. And of course, this is not a perfect analogy because in 2002 the entire market was down. I think crypto is in a better place overall, Bitcoin and Ether, but I think comparing the altcoins, some of these altcoins that have been down for 2 or 3 years that are still good, comparing them to the dot-com bubble, I think we're going to see a lot of the same resurgence that we saw. I'm going to go and look at the comments really quickly before I get to some good lower cap setups. Let me know in the chat what some of the lower cap coins you guys have been looking at. I think for me, there's some really good sub 5 mil setups for the first time that I've been seeing. I'm just looking at the comments right now. Always a good to sit on these streams. Thanks for being here, Jake. Shot you back a follow. Nice to be here on the stream once again. Appreciate you guys for being here. Let me see. Oh, I'm gonna quote tweet this real quick. Let's see. Undo repost. But yeah, while I'm doing this really quickly, guys, let me know what some of the lower cap stuff you've been trading. If you've been trading any lower caps, what you've been doing DCAing. We're live. I'm gonna copy this. Perfect. USDC giveaway at the end of the stream. But yeah, this next week I have about 2 or 3 guests lined up for the next few weeks in different areas in both TA. I really want to have Kickback on too, but gonna have Nigma on. We're gonna have somebody come on and talk about. I'll save it for later, but just know we're gonna have 2 or 3 guests lined up in the next few weeks, and then gonna add more as time goes on. But yeah, if you guys could like, comment, retweet on this as well. 600. Oh, it just jumped up to 700. Shout out to you guys. Rojan, nice to see you, brother. Always good to see Rojan. Good stream, Brent, but please start doing it a little early. Too late. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I try to do 11 a.m. I'm gonna start doing add some more streams at some points. At that point, I'll probably experiment with some different times. I want to really stick to like a time though, so I can get some regulars on here and so you guys know when I'm going to be on. What are your thoughts on Aster? Yes, Aster. That's a great question. Let's look at Aster really quickly, just because he asked, so I don't forget. I still don't forget. I have to look at Nothing and Aura Farm as well. What do you say? Sorry. Got some really good comments. I'll get to that. Really quickly, I want to go over Aster. I think Aster falls into the barbell that I'm really excited about, guys, is this barbell of movement coins, which is the SPX Gigas, USDUCs, ticker Bitcoins, trolls, so on and so forth. And then the other side of that barbell is the revenue producing protocols, the ones that produce real revenue. I'm not talking like there's going to be a bunch that pop up that say like flywheels. I'm talking about apps that people use whether there was a flywheel or not. The Hyperliquids, people are using that to trade perps no matter what. The Uniswaps, they're using it to swap either way. Pump funds, they're using it to make meme coins and trade meme coins. Those are the ones that when the market does go back up, there's going to be huge buy and burns, which are going to result in huge moves to the upside. So I do think Aster, the fact, even the chart setup is really nice here. You look at it, chopping back down into the low, guys. Anytime you see, again, we talk about consolidation. Every one of these bottoms, you want to see consolidation. This one's been consolidating for a month, but an even another bullish confluence is when the second leg of that double bottom is slow and choppy. When you chop slowly back down towards that, is usually a good sign that price is slowing down and getting ready to reverse. So Aster, I really like. Again, chart setup lines up. I think it needed to have its washout, and we have CZ, Binance backing it. Of course, not every tweet's going to make it go up, but overall, long term, that's a good sign. And then chart setup lines up, and again, it's a protocol that I believe people are going to use, whether they do or whether there's a buyback or not. And I think that's going to really fuel a big move up. So I think Aster goes back to all-time highs on this next run. Looking at grass, I'll look into grass. 200 daily moving average to the red line. What's the blue line? The blue line, yes, that is the 50. The 50, again, the way I use the 50 is, again, for the death cross, right? I don't usually look at the death cross as a bearish indicator alone. Again, the death cross is when this 200 moving average, when the blue moving average, the 50, closes below the 200, that signifies a death cross. The death cross, yes, marked the top of the 2021 run, but it wasn't confirmed until Bitcoin traded back to that 200 moving average and then failed to break above. That's what I'm telling you. The 200 moving average is been so solid, is because every time it's traded above, we got to all-time highs, and then every time it's closed below, traded back above it, or traded back to it, but failed to trade above, it's rolled over and gone down more. That's why we got to see if Bitcoin is going to go back to that 200 moving average and trade above, like we saw in April and in 2024, or is it going to go up here and retest that moving average and fail and go down one more time? That's kind of what we got to look at, right? So to answer your question, Rojam, this is the 50 and the 200. Aster will run soon. Yeah, CZ seems to still be shilling it. Yeah, I think I like Aster. What do you think of DATs, Bitminer? I think the DATs will survive the good ones, the ones that are actually raising money the right way. What you got to understand is MicroStrategy, the DATs, the Bitminers, the MicroStrategies, the ones that are ran well, is these things, the crypto could go in a bear market for 2 or 3 years and they'd be just fine. The problem would arise with MicroStrategy, especially, is if their bonds or the interest that they have to pay back on the loans, if we come up, I think in about 3 years, they're have to pay the first interest on the loans. If Bitcoin is still below MNAV at that time, they'd probably have to sell some Bitcoin to cover that, which I don't think would be the end of the world. But even if that happened, that's years off. That's literally 2 or 3 years off. They already raised a bunch of money to cover the dividends. So really, if you're betting against MicroStrategy, you're betting that Bitcoin's going to stay down for 3 or 4 years and we're going to go into some major depression or recession. That's not my bet. I think everything's pointing to the opposite. I think everything's pointing to mass adoption and money printing and all these good things that send assets up. But to answer your question, Lambos, I think Bitminer survives. I think MicroStrategy survives. I think MicroStrategy goes on to become a top 3 company, top 5 company in the world. Michael Saylor probably becomes the richest, if not the top 3 to 5 richest man in the world. And people are going to FUD it all the way up. That's how I think it's going to happen. Makes me worried how many people will get scammed. I don't know what you're talking about. You're joined. What did I miss? We're just going over charts right now. Always here. Haven't traded lower caps. Been keeping my USDUC back. Okay, yeah, USDC. We'll go over that in a second. USDUC. Anyone also in Europe? Yeah, if you're in Europe in the chat, let us know. But yeah, Aster looks really well. Let's just look at Pump Fund as well. Same kind of thing. Same kind of. I have the same thesis on Pump Fund, guys. But even more powerful, I think meme coins are literally just getting started as far as like a cultural thing. And I don't necessarily think they should be called meme coins anyway. Either way, I think they're going to change it to like, I think they should change the name to something that encapsulates more, because this is just more than memes, right? Like I think the best memes are movements anyway. So like maybe making a different name for it. But either way, I think Pump Fund, amazing setup chart wise. Again, same thing as Aster. It's chopping back down into this low. I think we're going to zoom out in 6 months to a year from now, and this is going to be literally looked at as just a giant base, a giant double bottom, to where I don't think Pump Fund has seen anything yet. I think Pump is probably, it's again been consolidating for a couple weeks, maybe consolidates for a week, couple weeks longer. But I think, zooming out might not be that dramatic. This is probably fucking nuts, but zooming out, I think we see Pump Fund look like something like this where, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't go to fucking, 30x from here. Maybe it does. Is this 30x? Yeah. Maybe it doesn't go 30x from here, but I think literally looking back, we're going to see Pump Fund. Literally, it's this small blip here is just going to be a small base before it ran to all-time highs. I think meme coins are going to become I think gambling speculation are going up. Meme coins are gonna become a huge part of that. I think right now there's just a branding problem for memes. I don't know what's gonna change that, but I think Pump Fund is gonna only produce more. I think the trench volume is gonna go up with Bitcoin. Trench volume is gonna be at all-time high. We saw this run here in August for Pump Fund when the market was still shit. Like Pump Fund volumes were still in the fucking toilet. What do you think happens when the market's up, the overall market, altcoins are going crazy anyway, and then the trench volumes are back at all-time highs? What do you think the buy and burns are going to look like? The buybacks are going to look like then? It's going to get crazy. So I think Pump is just an amazing buy right now. And I've been buying a lot of it. So let's go to those lower cap setups though, really quick. Yes, white whale. So again, usually guys, I have not over the last 3 to 4 months, there's been like 2 or 3 coins, lower cap coins that I bought as like a short-term trade just to like, to play some short-term stuff. One of them was a TikTok coin, which absolutely got fucking destroyed. But recently I've been seeing people like Kick, a lot of these other guys, which again, go ahead and kick a follow. Some of these other MKT, all these guys posting some of these lower cap charts. And while I've been avoiding a lot of those for a while because I think the market, there just hasn't been a lot of follow through on these coins. So you either have to be really early, whatever. Like I think back in 2024 there was opportunities to get some really good swings on coins that were already above 2 or 3 million. We saw Zero Bro, for example. I caught that at 7 million. Let's look at it real quick. Zero Bro caught it at 7 million and it was able to ride it. I don't know if it was 7. Let's see. Zero Bro, for example, all the way the fuck back here. I think it was like this setup or maybe this setup, one of these two. Yeah, this was it, 7 million. Got in around 7 million and was able to ride that bitch all the way the fuck up to 700 million in a matter of 24 days, which was absolutely fucking crazy, right? So like the market used to give us opportunities like this where you didn't have to be early. Like you didn't have to be in right here. Like I got in here fucking 6 or 7 days after the coin was out but still was able to get 100x. That's the type of opportunities that the market, when it's healthy, presents, right? And I think we're starting to see, God willing, like hopefully, we're starting to see some of these opportunities start to present themselves in some of these coins that are not at 10K or 50K or 100K market cap, they're at a nice 1 to 5 million market cap in a nice correction that I think have the potential to really hit those 10, 20, 30 million market cap range. One of them is White Whale. And one of these is actually kind of going against what I believe in a lot of times. And that is that most of the time when there's a coin surrounding a certain person or celebrity or whatever, usually it doesn't last, right? The only things that really last are movements. But White Whale, I think, is actually one of the rare examples. Um, shout out to Aaron. Thank you for sharing, brother. Appreciate you. Um, Gmog Wolf. I don't know if you're on here, but also before I forget, if you guys are like aspiring clippers, I know clipping is huge right now. It's probably a great opportunity to not only potentially make some money, but to really grow your Twitter account. Feel free to clip any of this shit. I will like, comment, retweet, shoot you a follow, all that good stuff. I want to get I'm doing a lot of clipping and putting them on YouTube. You've seen some of them on Twitter, obviously do pretty well. But I'm trying to expand and get as many of these clips out here as possible. So feel free again. Might start having if I start to see people doing it more, I might start having like a clipping challenge or something. But for now, if you guys ever want to clip anything, feel free. I will like, comment, retweet, all that good stuff. But yeah, White Whale is one of the few examples I think that is. Oh, we already have a clip up. Oh no, this is the stream. I'm tripping. White Whale is one of the few examples where the guy is actually super aligned with crypto Twitter, I believe, and is actually not going to go anywhere. I don't think, even though he did lose a lot of money, I don't believe this is a play for him to like get a bunch of money from. He's actually taken yesterday. He took the fees that he got from the creator fees and actually split it amongst a lot of the top holders, which I think is really cool. So a lot of these top holders got $500, I believe, back in Sol. So I think this guy's super aligned with it, and I think, you know, I think that has a good possibility if the market does pick up here to where White Whale super coiled up, even though this is a 50% correction, pretty tight and choppy in this kind of tight little correction, very corrective in nature. I think if White Whale is able to hold this low for a few more days here, again, consolidation. Again, this is a lower time frame setup, so we don't need a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, maybe a couple days. Holding this low for a little bit longer. I think White Whale has a good shot at making back to all-time highs, and I think 10 million might be a good target. So I'll potentially probably be taking half of my 30, 40%, 50% of my position back at all-time highs. But I think White Whale has a good opportunity potentially, if the market kind of really picks up here, has a good shot at maybe being more of a longer term play. Usually, again, I'm pretty bearish on a lot of these coins that are based around a certain person, especially if it's just a meme coin and not a creator coin like attached to Zora or something. But I think White Whale is an outlier, and I think could very well put a lot of attention on the coin and take it higher. So, White Whale, I think I've been buying, and I think it's a good one. Another one, Kermit. I obviously don't have a lot of Kermit, to be honest. I've been buying a bit more. Other than the chart, the guys have just been super fucking consistent. Like, let me know if there's any of my Kermit motherfuckers in the chat. Let me know. I bet there's like 4 or 5 of them chilling in here right now, at least. Super fucking consistent on my post. Raiding. Of course, anybody could raid, but there's a certain style of humor and stuff that is like I'm pretty bullish on, and the Kermit guys, even though this is a really pretty low market cap, I don't know, it's a 2 to 3 million. It's not bad. I think Kermit is growing on me, and I think even though again it's a cartoon character, usually if it's a character, it's hard to build a movement around it. There's not a lot of memetics or like a high ceiling there. But I think there's a good shot that this is one of the few that has a movement surrounded behind it, because I've seen the community actually is like taking a lot of action. And yeah, I think Kermit has a good shot. But yeah, Kermit, I'd like to see maybe come back down a bit more. But same thing with White Whale. I think it has a good shot to pick up with the rest of the market. So really like those two, especially White Whale. And then another one that was actually brought to my attention by a good friend of mine, or not, just a guy that homie that I've been getting to know recently, homie Donnie Dicey. If you guys don't know him, there's a few people on crypto Twitter that I really like, really can back, like really vouch for, and really like to learn from myself, and really trust in their stuff, chart wise and stuff. And Donnie's one of them. He's a beast. He brought this to my attention. FKH. Let me know in the chat if you guys have seen this one yet. FKH. Flying Ketamine Horse. 4.2 million. Shout out to my boy Donnie showing me this yesterday at around 2 million. So up a nice like 2x on that. I wish I would have gone heavier, but again, been kind of cautious getting back into this lower cap stuff. I've just not been trading it for the last few months. But yeah, 2x up on this. I'll always tell you guys, you want to take profits on the way up on something like this. I never really like to oh shit. I never really like to never like to add to something that's going straight up in the fucking air. But with that being said, I think this has a good shot at being more long term as well. So if this thing were to pull back a bit, maybe be a good entry. But it could continue to chug along. This is obviously a really healthy chart. It's been up. Dude, it was at a 5,000 market cap 7 days ago. So also a really good one. But yeah, White Whale, Kermit, Flying Ketamine Horse are 2 or 3 that I've really been focusing on. But I think we're going to start to see a pattern, guys, where some of these lower cap coins, which I'm really excited about, where some of these coins between 2 to 10 million that didn't come out yesterday, but also have a lot of upside. They're like that are in corrections that I think the market is going to start to show some follow through, hopefully. And in that time, there's a lot of opportunity to where you don't have to be very, 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 very early on the coin. You can get in a few days later on a correction and still do really well. And that's my type of market. That's where I dominated last year. Got again like 100x almost off of Zero Bro. We did it together on the streams with Pengu, Pump, SPX, USDC, USDUC, some of these others. But I think this time, when Bitcoin does go back to all-time highs, we're really going to see days and weeks of follow through, which is really where the market gets fun. Oh shit, we're already at 1,000 viewers. Appreciate you guys so much for being on here. Again, right now, if you're just hopping in, we're just talking about some lower market cap setups, which I think for the first time we're starting to see some lower cap coins really set up and probably get some follow through here. We already went over Bitcoin into why I think we're ending very likely coming up on the end of this kind of correction here. And very, we want to see what we do above 93K here. As you guys can see, Bitcoin is coming back down kind of hard here. I would not be surprised because of this hesitancy to see Bitcoin sweep this low one more time. But either way, if we look at past charts, I've said this a million fucking times, trying to drill it in your guys' head. We look at past charts, every one of these corrections has ended in one thing and one thing only, and that's consolidation. What have we seen in the last few weeks? Consolidation above 81K. So I think good sign that Bitcoin's bottom is in, and we just got to let this play out. Aaron Yeager reposted the stream. Fuck yeah, Irene. Dangy says LMAO. Let's look at LMAO. Again, if you have any comments, questions, start requests, hit me with them. LMAO. Is this the right one? Of course it's not. It's the one with the laughing face, right? Yeah. Definitely not it either. Is this it? I hope it's not. No, is it LMAO? Oh, it's this one. I don't know why it comes down so low. Oh yeah. As you guys can see here, we marked this up, I think, last week's stream, last Tuesday. So it has been going sideways, which again, consolidation oftentimes does lead to reversal. That's why I'm saying, guys, here it could just head higher from here. But if it were to sweep this low, that's probably a good opportunity to buy, just like it did here. You see here, guys, how last time it kind of had this low, swept the low, and then went higher. If we were to do something like that, if Bitcoin were to come down one more time, maybe it's not that drastic, but some shit like this maybe does. That might be a good setup. But either way, it looks pretty bullish. I don't know anything about this coin, but it does seem to be chugging along. If it does break below this 2.3 low, you want to make sure it's not super impulsive. But I think that's the most likely scenario here. Manny Bag, shout out to you. Check Kermit. Did I? Oh, I did. Carl, what's good, brother? White Whale bought a ton of coins with creator rewards and locked. Yes. I saw that. Quick recap of what I missed. Yes. So take notes right now. Get out your piece of paper. Take out your notes app. No, we Bitcoin finishing up its correction. We talked a bit about how crypto is at its post.com bubble moment where we're comparing crypto to where it's at right now, 860 million users, to where the market was, where the internet was after the .com bubble, right before internet technology kind of took over the world. And we're just comparing that on how, really where crypto's at right now and where internet was right before it took over in like 2003. Crypto is actually pretty much right on point with the adoption levels as far as numbers go. But we're seeing, crypto seems to be dominated by Asia, Asia and Nigeria and Vietnam, where internet was dominated by the U.S. We saw the internet cheap bandwidth, which got a lot cheaper to use the internet, is what pushed it to mass adoption. Now we're seeing stable coins, remittances, digital wallets. So we're just comparing the internet versus whatever. Now we went over some lower cap setups here with White Whale, Kermit, and what is it called? Ketamine Horse, KH. What is it? Let me find it. FKH. And then we're going to go over some more stuff here. So if you guys have any questions, comments, make sure to leave them in the chat. First of all, let me know if you guys are new to the stream. Say new to stream and let me know what country you're in. Again, new to stream or OG, and let me know where you're at in the chat, where you're tuning in from, what country. Oh, fuck. I completely forgot. We are actually streaming on Instagram as well. So if you're watching on there, now make sure to go over to X right now because Instagram is going to cut off. Go over to X, watch us there, follow X as well. And let me take this opportunity to, as you guys can see on the top right of the stream, is it top? Oh, sorry, top left now of the stream. You can see my socials, Brain Trades, pretty much Brain Trades with 2 S's on obviously Twitter and then TikTok. And then the other 2 are just Brent Trades with 1 S. If you just type in Brent Trades, you'll find me. If you guys could do me a huge favor right now, go over to TikTok, even if you don't use it or you barely use it. Instagram, same thing. Shoot me a follow. Really making an effort to expand to these other platforms as crypto blows up. So if you're on Instagram right now, come over to x.com right now, x.com/Brent Trades with 2 S's, and come join the stream over here. But yeah, what was I going to say? We're going to go over FOMC and some other seconds here too. Short-term view, when will trenches be hot? I think trenches will be hot as Bitcoin approaches its all-time highs. That's how it usually goes. Kermit community is really strong. Yeah, it seems that way. Agree. Kermit is legit a diehard community rarely seen today. The kind of that mirrors the biggest winners of 24. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Brandon. Shout out to Brandon. I keep forgetting to include the Punkster and the Token Works coins in my flywheel portion. Again, right now, what I'm focusing on is L1s. I've been buying, obviously, I have a lot of ETH, Bitcoin, Sol. AVAX, I think, is going to do well. Some Doge, some other stuff in the top 10. But really, where my altcoin DCAing and really where a lot of my capital, as far as altcoins are going, are in this barbell. One of them is revenue producing protocols, the uh, Hype, Aster, Pump Fund, Uniswap, few of the others. Including in there, I keep forgetting to include, is the TokenWorks coins. Again, these are TokenWorks strategy coins attached to the NFTs, certain NFTs. Again, essentially the way it works is the token, there's a 10% fee on there. The fee, every time people trade in and out of it, there's a 10% fee. They take those fees when it gets to enough. They buy one of the NFTs off the floor. They relist them like 20% higher. And when that NFT sells, they take the proceeds to buy back the token and burn it. So essentially, it's a bet on the NFTs themselves going up. I believe certain NFTs, CryptoPunks, VeeFriends, Pudgy Penguins, Bored Apes, are going to go up a lot in the next 2 to 3, 5 years. And I think those Punk strategy being the biggest one, because every one of the Token Works coins has to buy back Punk strategy. And I think CryptoPunks are the obvious bet on NFTs, right? So Punk strategy, Pudge strategy, uh, Pain strategy, Good Vibe strategy, or Vibe strategy. Any of those I think are going to do really well. I need to buy more Vibe strategy and a few of the other ones, but Pain strategy, Butcher strategy, Check strategy, what is it called? The Jack Butcher one. All of those I'm extremely bullish on too, Brandon. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. I wasn't meaning to. Baby, yeah, I'll look at Baby for you. Baby, Niche Baby. This is one I've been seeing all fucking over too. So Niche Baby looks like it could be potentially beginning a bigger correction. Most of the time when you see something consolidate for 4 or 5 days, it's really hesitating at this high. You might see something like this. I think that's kind of the best case scenario, kind of a correction like this. If you were to see this is the kind of really healthy corrections that we're seeing on White Whale, USDUC, which I'll point up right now. If you're in Niche Baby right now, you're in Kermit, you're in White Whale, you want that coin to play out essentially to how USDUC played out when it was at 3 million. I'll go ahead and show that right now in a second. Niche Baby, best case scenario would be something like this. Maybe it doesn't go this low, like might just go a little bit lower. If that case, and I was a Niche Baby believer, I'd be buying the fuck out of this correction. So best case scenario, look out for something like this. It doesn't have to be this. It could be tighter than that. It could go down just below 1 million, something like that. But, a reclaim of that channel, I'd be buying the fuck out of that. Have you come across Zao? No, I've heard of it though. I've been seeing a lot of that. Is this the one? The Zao with gold? I don't think that's it, right? It's the one with like a. I thought Zao was like a. Oh, that's something else. But I will say this has been consolidating nicely. I don't really have a strong opinion on this. Not a lot of volume. Could go either way. Again, what it has going for it is a consolidation. Best case scenario, it just continues to break higher. And I could see that happening. If it closes back above 400K, above this consolidation high, you're probably in good shape. Don't know what to ask as I'm feeling down a lot lately. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Trust me, like I've been in this for 10 years. I'm pretty numb to everything. I know where crypto's going. I'm excited about the future, but even these times weigh on me too. It's like shit's fucking boring. It's night and day. The vibes, everybody's attitude, the fucking, the obviously the opportunities. But I will say it's like if you're here now, you're gonna enjoy the fucking good times so much more. It's just you gotta strike while the iron's hot. Love you, Bren. Been following since late 2023. Wow, shout out to you, man. That was like before meme coins or like right as meme coins. What other things excite you besides crypto? It's a good question. Really, 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 really been prioritizing my health lately. The first time in my life since I was in high school and I played football that I've been going to the gym like 3 to 4 days a week. I've traveled, so I think there's one time I didn't a couple weeks or one or 2 weeks where I only went once or twice a day. But I've been consistent at the gym for the last 14 or 15 months for probably the first time in my adult life. Really been prioritizing that. Been on like a cut right now, doing a lot of fasts. So the gym and my health, during this time, I've been really prioritizing that, spending more time with friends and family. But I really love this crypto shit. Like again, it's for me, even before I was making a lot of money or really any money at all, this type of shit is uh really entertaining to me as well. Like watching the long form podcasts, like all this shit, being in the community, making new friends like around here. Like I just love it all. So it definitely is a huge part of my life. But what do I like out of it? Growing up, I've always loved watching YouTube videos and studying different cultures. I think that's why I fell in love with crypto so much, is because while a lot of people watch Netflix and all that good shit, like that's cool. I chose to be on YouTube, and I like to watch different cultures from like gaming, like all this different stuff. Uh, I was really big on IRL streaming even before it was like big here. Like I've always just loved studying different cultures, watching podcasts, different stuff. So that's kind of where I spend a lot of my entertainment is like on YouTube and watching, just different stuff like that. But yeah, this year too did a lot of traveling for the first time around the US. Next year I want to travel around the world. Gonna hit Dubai, 100% already booked some stuff for Token 2049 in April. Definitely want to hit Asia. Want to go to China. I saw somebody go to China the other day. Pretty crazy. I know I'm going on a tangent, but I saw the Nelk Boys video where they were in China already. They have drone, like they ordered beers from that WeChat app or whatever. They ordered beers that literally came over a fucking drone to them in like 20 seconds, right? Like 20 seconds, like 2 minutes. It got to them. Just stuff like that. I want to explore China, Japan, Asia would be cool, Europe, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I would say really been prioritizing the health, doing some traveling this year. Uh, you know, experiencing new things. I want to start. I want to start um getting into like some type of like into like boxing or something. I was thinking about jujitsu, but I don't want to fucking. Seems like the fuckers get injured a lot in there, but yeah, they're gonna do some shit like that. But yeah, good question. What about you? Let me know. Anyone love drum and bass? Yeah, I love drum and bass. I like house music. That's another thing. I want to go to more shows and or festivals this year too. Have been an OG in your streams a few times, but I mostly miss your streams. Thank you for being here, brother. I think I missed only a few streams. I know Hayes has always been here. Shout out to Hayes. Much love. Damn, we're at 1,300 views right now at 1 minute and 8 seconds. Shout out to every fucking buddy for being here. I love you guys. Seriously. J J JB JBGDPT. Shout out to that. Shout out to the share. Wayne Mammal, how am I? I'm doing fucking really well. Thank you, brother, for asking. I'm extremely excited. I think I think Leo kind of put it perfectly in this tweet yesterday that um damn, this fucker tweets a lot. Oh no, that's not even it. It's not the end of 2021. It's not summer 2019. It's not some replay of the past. It's December 2025, and every institution is adding on Earth is adding Bitcoin and crypto to its balance sheets, while the SEC pushes every market on chain with haste. It's not over. It's just starting. Like, exactly how I view it. Like everybody trolls fucking Orangey for saying we're just getting started, but if you zoom out, like he's right too. I do think whether Bitcoin goes straight to all time highs from here or trades back below the 200 moving average, I think we're just in the most obvious sweet spot in history where crypto's obviously going to see mass adoption. Meme coins are going to see probably mass adoption, but prices are still down. So I'm just excited to be here in an industry that's literally about to fucking explode. Doing these streams, twice a week, more, Twitter space on Thursday, made a lot of great friends the last couple months from, that's a good thing about being in this space and making friends is a lot of people are, not in great moods. But if you do make good friends, it tends to be with long-term, solid individuals because those are the people that are still here, are the people who are actually, not just casuals. What do you think about Near? I'll look at Near for you. Yeah, let me look at Aura Farm for you because somebody else asked that earlier too. I think since the chat's popping, I'll probably hang out for another 20, 30 minutes. Aura farming. Okay. This is actually a decent setup, bro. So Aura farming, born into like a pretty weird. Born into a pretty weird time in the market. Um, right? Obviously born in March where most stuff is dead on the downside, but it had a really nice run to 3 to 4 million. Since then it's been correcting, but what do you notice here? It's not just straight down. Like if you would have seen price just do this and just went straight to whatever, this is what we see during the rugs. This is what we see on your average rug pull, right? It'll top out and then all of a sudden it'll go down 90%. It'll go to fucking 7K market cap in a week, right? But what do we see here? Yes, Aura Farm did come down to pretty fucking deep here, 700K. But what does it do? It bounces, comes down, bounces. So yes, it is down 95%. Not great, but it is showing some good signs on the charts as far as it not being super impulsive. It has been consolidating for again 2 or 3 weeks. It is a good sign. I think it does bounce with the market, but the question you have to ask yourself, Crypto Basant, is: do you think the Aura Farm community is still around, still building, still has a long term cult like mindset that they're going to build this for higher, or do you think there's a lot of bag holders that are just waiting to sell? If it's the former, then I think this is a good time to buy. I think everything is there. I think there are certain coins that go down 95% and then do come back. We've seen it with Nubcat. We've seen it with a lot of these other ones, but yeah. Oh, I forgot to bring up USDUC. So to answer your question, Aura farming, uh, it does have all the makings for a big reversal, but I'm just not sure if the community is there. I'm not really studying it like that. USDC. So if you're a low cap coin and you're a real big low cap believer, obviously USDC has come down really hard with everything else, but study the first few months of USDUC. Okay? What did it do? This is a very healthy chart, right? Obviously, it's come down a lot. You could argue 95% down is not healthy, but I'm talking about the first few months, right? It came up really hard, but what did it do every few weeks or once a week? It would do this nice corrections, nice choppy short corrections. Moved up from 3 million up to 26, did a nice correction back to 7. This is where I actually bought USDUC. Oh no, actually it was like right here back in June and got in really heavy here. And then what did it do next? Ran all the way down to up to 61 million. Now we're back down to 70 to 7 mil. But what do you notice the first few months is these healthy charts, these healthy coins, yes, they'll go up really hard. But every week they'll also have these short choppy corrections to kind of cool price off, make it not get too euphoric, allows for strong holders to accumulate more, and then it heads higher. Now, USDUC now, obviously 95% correction. But the reason why I'm just not worried at all and why I have such a strong belief in these guys is because the core community, we have Cryptolicious, General Bingus, Cuppy Yu Yong, obviously. I'm just thinking of everybody off the top of my fucking head. There's a bunch of you guys, a lot of homies in USDUC. I already said Bingus. I have a terrible fucking memory right now. All my USDUC homies, they're still fighting just as if the coin was 80 million. And I think the narrative works out. I think it's honestly like up there with SPX and MOG and everything as far as overall commitment and uh, presence on the timeline, but it's 20, it's 5% of the market cap. And when I see that, I think the amount of the strength in the community and the actual movement, it has a high mimetic ceiling to flip the stable coins. It's a movement. They have sick ass PFPs that everybody uses. Like I think it I think it's going so much higher. I think it's easily going to 100 million. I think it has an amazing shot at getting to 500 million to a billion if the market does well. And if you do the math, if the overall market recovers, we see Bitcoin at 150, 200K. I think we see USDUC at 250, 500 million, $1 billion market cap. You do the math on that, what it would be if we were to get there. Even if you were to get back to 100 million, do the math. I really like USDUC here. Or a farm, we already went over that. What do you see about Near? Yeah, let's look at Near for you. Why do all these fucking BNB coins come up first? Is this it? I know Near is not just a BNB coin. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna. This chart's weird as fuck. Yeah, it's just because this chart is so fucking like. So remind me, what does Near Protocol do again? Blockchain for AI. Okay, yeah, interesting. So it's kind of doing what Tao's doing a little bit, like that, like a blockchain AI specific blockchain. Let's go ahead and look at CoinMarketCap real quick. Why is my shit loading so slow today, chat? All right, so it's at 2 billion market cap, completely unlocked. I will say it is bullish that there's no more unlocks. Um, as far as the chart goes, look, man, I think AI crypto shit is just gonna do like AI is gonna be a huge niche in crypto on this next run, and I think just because this is a top mover, a category leader, it's probably gonna go up. And again, what do we see here? This is an amazing setup. You heard me talk about it. Fuck, I'm not sharing my screen. Damn it. You heard me talk about at the top of the show that what is a very bullish setup is this double bottom. But what do we see? The first leg, there was a consolidation here too, but first leg is very sharp. But the second leg is very choppy in nature. When you see that setup, again, when the first leg up is very, quick in nature, and then that second leg to retest the low is choppy and corrective in nature, that's a very good sign that you're forming a double bottom and you're going to go up. So chart looks really fucking good, dude, to be honest. And again, this might just end up being, if crypto and AI really do merge, bro, we might end up looking back at this chart and see, oh fuck, like this 2 or 3 years of price action was just a base. That this was just the consolidation that led to a massive move to the upside. Like you see charts like this all the time, right? Not all the time. You can see charts like this on stock market back in the day, stuff like that, where yes, it may take 2 or 3 years to finish up this correction, but once it breaks above, you could be looking at billions. So chart looks really good. I don't really know too much with about the team or anything. I do think it's interesting that this thing's all the way back down to 20 million, but chart looks pretty good. Oh, near the altcoin? Fuck. This is it, right? Am I a believer in ICT, like the inner circle trader method? Um, I know I'm a big believer in this ICT. Shout out to all the new followers today. ICT. I'm a big believer in this ICT right here. What's his name? I can't trade. This guy might be the most fucking underrated account on Twitter. I'm not even fucking. Here I am fucking hyping him up and I can't even find his fucking account. There he is. I can't trade. This guy has been writing amazing articles about and write ups and stuff about a few things about really the macro setup and how pretty much the macro setup is pointing to a huge pretty much how it's just pointing to a huge renaissance for like digital assets and stock market and risk assets in general. A lot of great write ups on macro stuff. This guy is a beast. He's just starting to grow his account. I think it's the last few years. This guy is extremely underrated. He also gives good takes on NFTs and stuff as well. But really like what he's doing. Definitely check out his Substack. So I'm a big believer in this ICT. If you meant Inner Circle Trader, um, I'll just say no. I don't use any of this stuff. Uh, you see a lot of people with pretty polarizing character. It seems like people are just extreme believers in the ICT method, or I think there's a lot of stuff, controversial stuff around ICT. The guy, he's been around for a long time. Do his methods actually work? Is he actually a grifter? I don't know. I don't fucking know. All I know is that I just don't use the concepts. I think a lot of them, I don't know, order blocks and all that different stuff. Whenever I tend to see everybody using the same strategy, I question it. I think a lot of the people try to simplify, not simplify the market, but complicate the market and go like, oh, these liquidity sweeps and this, that, and the other, and then blah, blah, blah. You hear all these guys on Instagram talk about it. But usually when I see everybody using these strategies, a lot of young kids and stuff, I don't know. Again, I haven't I just don't use the strategy. I haven't really dove. ICT's been around since back in my Forex days about 8 or 9 years ago. I kind of steered away, but if you're finding success with the methodology, then so be it. Teach their own. Health is wealth for show, for show. Did you talk about Aster? Yes, I did. I'm bullish on Aster for sure. Let me pull up the setup for you really quick so you can look at it. Actually, it was right here. Yeah, I know. But yeah, Aster, I think it's chopping, kind of finishing up this bottom, and I think it moves higher next few months. Respect the grind and info you, boss man, provide. I always want to ask your thoughts on POW. POW, Caspa, are those two different coins? But yeah, let me look at Caspa for you, bro. We're going to talk about FOMC here in a second, too. I keep forgetting. That's like the last major topic I want to hit. Not going to lie, this higher time frame setup on Casper, bro, looks really nice. It's a nice coil up. This is actually really fucking nice. I'm seeing a lot of charts here, guys, on these like older alts that are looking really nice, and this is telling me I think we're going to get a resurgence and potentially, very potentially, a alt season. I know everybody fucking shits on alt season, and by alt season, all I mean is I think we're going to get a resurgence of some of these older coins that haven't ran in a long time. Is it as strong as 2021? I think there's a chance, but who knows? I would not be surprised to see something like this on Caspa. This is a nice multi-year correction, but very choppy in nature. I wouldn't be surprised if this flies in the next few months. What's your risk management portfolio balancing rules? Great question. So I know I've been saying this for a bit. I'm about 90% done with releasing like a mini course where I have a course that's going to be completely free to everybody, where it's going to go over maybe 10 to 20 hours of information on these concepts. Right now, if you want to go to the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel, links in the bio, and type in portfolio construction and profit taking, I have videos in there, but I'll go over really how my portfolio is set up right now, guys. And that is at about 50 to 60% of my portfolio at all times. And right now is in ETH, Bitcoin, Sol, and stable coins. The other biggest chunk of my portfolio is about 30%, 25%. No, 20% of my total port is, it's kind of getting towards like 25% now, is in between in altcoins, essentially, right? Mostly in that barbell. I have some of these older altcoins as well, but mostly in that barbell of movement coins, as well as those revenue producing protocols, the Asters, Hypes, Uniswaps, Pumps, Punkster, stuff like that. Really been DCAing heavily into that. That's getting more towards 25-30% of my port. And then the other 10 or 15% I use to trade in perps. Perps is actually higher, maybe 15%. Perps, a little bit of prediction markets, lower cap stuff, pump fund if I'm ever going to fuck with that, which will be like very rarely. Just stuff set aside for higher risk activity. Perps, I have a good risk management on, but a lot of stuff is I have a certain set of my portfolio set aside to where if I just want to get into something more more risky and crazy like that, I have 10 to 15% of my port. And that's what I really always suggest people to have, is most of your port in the major stables, whatever, a good chunk of your port in stuff that has a good shot at going up on this next leg. And then if you're going to trade in the pump funds, the prediction markets, any of that stuff, do it with a smaller part of your port. So if you lose it, you're not losing fucking your shirt. Kickboxing, Topper, do you do kickboxing, bro? That's beautiful, Bren. And do visit my country too someday. Where do you live, bro? Where do you think of this pump into Fed tomorrow? By the way, yeah, let's go over that. Good question. So Fed decision, 94%, 92%, 25% basis, 3% no change. Again, guys, what we're likely to see here, guys, is again a 25 basis point decrease, which is expected in the market. But often what we see kind of make some big shifts and some big waves is the speech that comes after. So, how do I play these news events and how can you play these news events? Is by not playing them at all, really. I think that's the best strategy. Meaning, if you think the market's going to go up because of the chart, because of fundamental reasons, everything we're talking about, I would not be trying to make any crazy predictions or any moves other than what I think is going to happen either way, especially when you have a 97% outcome. The chances are it's going to come out with this outcome. And yes, there might be some chop. He might say something out of left field in the stream or in the press conference, but very likely the market's going to do what everybody's expecting it to do. So therefore, it's going to do what it was going to do anyway. Like, I don't think the result of this is going to change what the market was going to do anyway. And it never does anyway. The market's going to do what it's going to do. But you could argue if this is a 50% thing, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty and volatility to where if one of those directions came out, it might make a big move. So the way I think it's going to play out, guys, is I think the Fed, the more they're able to cut rates and get it close to zero without something breaking, the better. And I think we're going to get closer to these rate cuts and people are going to start to realize the economy is doing pretty well with rates this low. They're hinting at starting QE. They already did some injections in some way of liquidity. I think the markets are going to end up front running this over the next few months and very likely could mark the bottom tomorrow and head higher. I think people are going to start to front run the economy doing well as far as, the macro environment. And I think this is just going to contribute again, especially if they start printing money and doing blatant QE. It's just going to contribute to risk assets and especially crypto going crazy over the next few years. So what do I think is going to happen with the risk rate cuts tomorrow, guys? Not much, unless Powell comes out in the speech tomorrow and says, "Oh, inflation is way higher than we're expecting. Labor numbers are really weak. We're gonna, and potentially hints at like some kind of uh, halt in rate cuts." But what did they did? They did that last week. They did that last month, right? I remember Thread Guy talking about this. How the 25 basis points decrease last month, like a month ago, was at like 30%. People thought that we were going to get a no change, but as the month went on, it starts to realize that we're going to get a 25. So I don't think much is going to happen unless he says something out of left field. I think what's very likely to happen, guys, is maybe today or tomorrow we start to see some type of because it seems like we're seeing some type of quote unquote resistance or hesitancy at this high. Oftentimes when you see that, I would not be surprised. Maybe there is some type of something that comes out in the news tomorrow that the market doesn't initially like, and then goes back down to that. But again, I think the higher time frames are pointing to this being the bottom. So worst case, I think maybe the markets give us that, maybe a sweep to the low on FOMC. But if we were to get that, guys, I would be calling it the market's bluff. And I do not think that's going to lead to prices coming down too crazy. Hold on. I need to plug in my laptop. Give me 1 second. While I'm setting this up, plugging this in, if you guys could again like, comment, retweet, share the stream. Give me 2 seconds here. Didn't even notice my shit dying. Alrighty. One second, guys. All right, guys, I should be back. My internet disconnected for a second. There's an annoying ass water heater going on behind me. It should be off in a second, but my bad, guys. It disconnected for a second. Yeah, we already went over Bitcoin, but I think it's finishing up this correction. We're gonna have to see if it comes down one more time or not. Worst case scenario, I think FOMC could push it back down to that low one more time. But uh, but yeah, let me catch up on the chat. You interested in cars, Brent? I'm not a huge car guy, but I have been the last few years getting into it more. But Brent, long time. Great to see you do lives, my friend, and old mate. Yeah, brother. Shout out to you. Nice to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Can't stop me now. Is that water heater like really fucking loud? Yeah, I'm in an echoey place, but the water heater, it's not really that loud behind me. Okay, good, 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 good to hear. Yes, there's a bit of an echo. I did move to a room with high ceilings, but did you hear about Bonnie Blue? What do you mean? I'm like all shocked, like it's a fucking chat. Like, what did she die or something? Oh, she got arrested. She could be facing up to 15 years in prison. Yikes. Bro, bro said, did you hear about Bonnie Blue as if she died and she just got arrested? That's crazy, Carl. That's a tragedy for you, bro. I'm just playing with you. What do you think is? About Bitcoin, I already went over that. Do you think it would be possible to get to 100K this year? This year is tough, right? We got 21 days. Christmas and New Year's are coming up, but I think in the next month, I think we go up. Can I look at Tau? So Tau, same thing, dude. I think we're Tau is what I tell you about consolidation, right? Tau has been consolidating here for about a year. I think we're going to end up looking at this on Tau, zooming out as AI and crypto take over the world. I think we're going to see something like this. And I think again, we're going to look back in a couple years from now, and we're going to see this just being a giant base for Tau. And I find myself like wanting to buy a lot of Tau, even though it's such a high market cap. But I do think it's going to become one of the biggest L1s and very likely do something like this over time. Crip Boss, thank you for retweeting the stream. Glad to have you on board. Kermit Love from the UK. Shout out to all the Kermit homies. But yeah, just like we were going over with FOMC, I think very likely what's going to end up happening is we're going to get that 25 basis point decrease. He might say something outlandish in the speech, but generally over the next few weeks, guys, I think Bitcoin moves out of this consolidation and we go up higher. Reach 100K, and then we'll see what we do at the 200 moving average. But let me go ahead in the timeline and see if there's anything to review before we close it up. Your mindset is elite. You teach discipline. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate you. I'm in, my bro. Oh, I keep reading the share screen. Hope I win this time. Yeah. I'm going to do a giveaway at the end of the stream, too, from somebody in the comments of this stream tweet. So if you guys could like, comment, retweet on this original stream tweet, comment on it, and I will be picking, wow, 3.8K views on it. I will be picking somebody from the 49 comments. It's actually not a bad odds compared to other giveaways. So definitely, if you want to be entered into that giveaway, comment on this. Again, always appreciate if you could like, comment, retweet all this as well. Always helps. Want to build the momentum. I feel like a lot of people stop doing streams and Twitter Spaces, but trying to stay consistent. Definitely check out what is Thread Guy doing today. His streams have been pretty fucking good lately. Again, I love the Thread Guy stream for the same reason I love the Bankless podcast. He continues to have a bunch of good people on, so definitely something. What do you say? I love your analysis from your go getting knowledge. Thank you, Aaron. Bossman calls, Wells Bossman calls, always giving the true knowledge. Gmog. Let's see, anything happen in the next or in the last? Bullish divergence on Penguin, the last momentum in 2 months. Yep. This week is smooth the shitcoin market, so we'll never mature enough to fix the PV. I tend to agree with this, guys. I think just like, meme coins are the form of gambling. I think as more people come in, it's just going to get harder. Just like in gambling in fucking slot machines, right? Like, obviously it's different. It's more of a skill-based thing, right? I'm not going to be completely ignorant. But as more people get into something, it's just going to become harder. Like, with meme coins, when there's 100,000x potential, you think it's going to be easy for that to happen? No, it's going to be very, very hard to get there as more people get in the game. And the barriers are going to be more vamping, more PvP. It's going to be like, okay, yes, the 67 coin came out. You're going to think it's an obvious home run. But what's going to stop you, make it hard to get that 10, 100x is there's going to be 106.7 coins, and you're taking a gamble on which one's going to actually spend the test of time, right? So I think it's only going to become harder and more vampier and more tough in the trenches. And that's why I think the biggest winners and the easiest, the most surefire way of making it is buying and holding great movement coins and taking profits on the way up. Shout out to everybody. 3,900 on this. That's crazy. Shout out to you guys for getting this out. Again, we will be back on Friday at 11:30 at the latest. Between 11 and 11:30. I'm going to try to get it close to 11. 11:30 a.m. PST every Friday, Tuesday and Friday. Thursday, I'm having a Twitter space with my good friend Hemdog, where we talk about a lot of the stuff we talk about in here, but NFTs as well. But the difference between streams and Twitter spaces is obviously we get to have you guys up and ask questions. So if you ever wanted to ask a question live, chop it up, whatever, definitely come Thursday at 2 p.m. PST here on X. And definitely follow my other socials. Like I said, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, um, X, obviously, which most of you guys are on now. Shoot me a follow on there. I think I'm just excited about the. I say this every stream, but I think the next few years there's going to be so much fucking opportunity to not just build a brand, but to especially in trading. I think we're going to come back a year or two from now, and in that time, meme coins are going to be an extremely big part of society. Digital wallets are going to be everywhere. I think NFTs, digital collectibles are going to be a massive thing, and all you had to do is stick around and continue fucking trading, dude. Shout out to Crypto Carl, the simp who just cried over Bonnie Blue getting arrested. Make sure everybody give him your condolences. He's gonna have nothing to do for a couple weeks as she's locked up. No, I'm just playing. But yeah. Anybody going to Solana Breakpoint in Abu Dhabi? Shout out to Shadow. QE is the real trigger. This guy's a fucking beast too. Damn, you even have CZ. Binance founder CZ says there may be a crypto supercycle in 2026. If CZ's saying it, you already know it's a done deal, guys. Come on. Like, I don't know. I think bro only says this type of stuff when it's like just about to happen. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, he's just going to be dumping," but I think it's way more in his interest to make crypto go crazy because that's where his net worth is. He always tries to pretend like he doesn't care if the market goes up or down, but his entire net worth, like he has so much money in crypto, it's like if he wants to be one of the richest men in the world, he wants crypto to go up. It's obvious. He's obvious in his interest for the industry to go up. Shout out to Yu Yang. Oh, we didn't talk about the Flogs. Flogs NFT collection came out with the blind boxes, essentially where you could buy the Flog figurines and it gave you access to a whitelist. It pre-reveal it went all the way up to 20.23, 0.24 ETH, and post-reveal, here's some of them. You can let me know in the chat if you think these look good or not. I think some of the 101s actually look really sick, but mixed opinions on these. And then obviously after post reveal, they've come all the way back down under 0.10. Personally, I sold 3 of my 4, and I'm still holding my rare one as well as my Pond NFT. There was some stuff that went down with the mint that kind of there was some stuff that were kind of promised that didn't really happen. Not promised, but there was some just technical difficulties with OpenSea where people who held this Pond NFT like that I have were supposed to get 5 of the NFTs and they weren't able to get it. There was a lot of stuff going around there, but generally, I think what matters is if the FWOG team can prove that they can build a sustainable like IP around it with stories, collectibles, all those different things, that maybe it has a chance. This is the kind of time that it's going to show its true colors and see what they're building. But in the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if these continues to bleed a little bit lower. And yeah, I'm still a pretty big believer in the project. I think the art and everything is pretty decent, But again, it's one thing to be able to have art, good looking art, and then it's a whole other thing to be able to build an IP that people love with characters and stories and all that good shit. So we'll see. When is the date? What, that Bonnie Blue gets out of jail? I don't know, brother. You better find out. Here, let me ask Grog. My friend is a Bonnie Blue Gooner. When does she get out of jail? Oh shit, I'm not even sharing the screen. So Carl, listen up, bro. Bonnie Blue Bang Buzz Tour was arrested on December 5th. Yeah, dude. Damn, they don't know when she's gonna get out, dude. So good luck. Up to 15 years? That is wild. That is fucking funny. The Dubai thing. Oh, Bonnie Blue. I hear that about Bonnie Blue. The Dubai thing is in tomorrow. The breakpoint is over the next few days. But yeah, guys, Bitcoin finishing up its correction. I think we'll see what happens on FOMC. I think there's a good shot that it fails to break here and moves lower. That's oftentimes what we see at these highs. If it were to sweep this low one more time, I'm going to be longing the fuck out of Bitcoin or ETH and Sol. And once we see a resolution and 2 daily candle closes back above 93K, I think we go back above 100 and very likely to all-time highs to end the year, guys. So I think right now, whether you have a lot of capital, you had to start over day one. I think right now, just don't check out. I think a lot of people are going to check out the next few months, sell everything, and then end up having to come back when things are way higher. It's way easier to just stick around, DCA, chill, continue to learn. I promise you, the vibes, the opportunity, everything is night and day better when conditions are good. But you can only enjoy them as if you stick around and know what the bad feels like and know what to do during the good times. So, with that, guys, if you guys don't have any comments, questions, everything like that, I will be back on Friday. We're going to continue to do these streams twice a week, every Tuesdays and Fridays, 11 a.m. Doesn't matter where the market's at. I love doing these streams with you guys, especially when conditions are good. There's going to be so much to talk about. Again, we caught Pengu, USDC, SPX, ticker, pump all together when the market was shit. A lot of these guys in here, myself, other people got 5 to 10x gains on each of those. Just imagine what we're going to be able to do together on stream every single day. What we're going to be able to learn, everything. It's going to be fucking great. So Tuesdays, Fridays, make sure to follow me on all the platforms above. Like, comment, reshare, retweet. Again, at the top of the show, we talked about Bitcoin, FOMC. I put out a couple low cap setups, a lot of good high cap setups. Talked about a lot of good stuff. So make sure to watch that back if you didn't catch it. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday. I love every single one of you guys. I hope this time is treating you guys well, and I think the best is yet to come. So I'll see you guys on Friday. Again, make sure check out Bossman Calls Telegram channel, like, comment, retweet, follow, and I'll see you guys on Friday.